Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Off-Grid Farm. We are inside today, actually in our kitchen, if you could tell, talking about one of our favorite appliances, one of our highest energy consuming appliances, but definitely one that makes the most delicious food. And that's going to be our dual fuel Aga Elise oven and cooktop. So before I start in with that, I want to say we're sitting at about 65% power. Actually, before I start in with that, I have a new clip-on microphone, a lavalier, however it's pronounced. I got one of these clip-on microphones. I got a really great recommendation, comment on my last video that the audio really needed to have more clarity to it. And so I'm inside right now, so I'm hoping this works really well. But the true test is going to be when we move back outside and contend with the wind and the rain and the snow and all that good stuff. So for now, hopefully this is a lot clearer. Thank you for the input and the feedback. And this is a great chance to talk about our range. So last night, we went into the night with a full charge. It's late fall, so that means about 4:15 or so, 4:30, we start losing, we don't generate any power. So we start entirely switching over to our battery, our power walls. And we use, as I've said in previous videos, we use about 30% of 20 to 30% of our power overnight, depending on what we're doing, how much laundry, showering, all that good stuff, of cooking, baking. So last night we did use about 25, 30%. So we're looking about tonight, going into today, we've got about 65% of our power. So if you break it down out of our 3 power walls, I've said this before, we tend to, on an average typical day, we'll use 1 power wall overnight. That's without having to adjust our power, living our life, watching television the way we want to, recharging all of our devices, and no kind of skip in the beat. So a power wall down leaves us about 66, 65% of our energy. And then we really have the confidence to, whether it's a gray day, we know that we can push through a gray day, or whether it's a sunny day, like it is today, we know we're going to recharge quick and then we're going to have some extra power. So for instance, like yesterday, one of our daughters loves to bake and has been working on this macaron recipe and perfecting it. And yesterday was the day where she really was showcasing, all the best parts of it. And so we had the oven on for really like 4 or 5 hours. And this is the product of it. I'll show you. She made these little heart-shaped ones. Amazing, amazing. Look at these things. So this is why we always want to make sure we reserve enough power to bake things. And why I'd say when you're going off grid, a lot of it depends on what lifestyle you're going to live. There's so many factors into it, and it's really why it's hard to kind of put a formula together to say, okay, this is how you do it, X and Y and Z. It's really like, let's say you're somebody who loves to bake. So we've got this amazing oven right here, which also uses a lot of power. So yesterday when we put it on, it preheats up, and it takes about, I don't know, maybe 15 to 30 minutes, depending on what temperature you're preheating it to. And, but let's call it 30 minutes because it's an even number to work with. And it uses between 3.5, 4 kilowatts really to preheat at that time. So if we're just looking at it by the numbers and we're taking it, if it was an hour and we were using 4 kilowatts just for this oven over an hour, and we have 40 kilowatts in our system total, my basic math would tell me, I think hopefully my teachers would be proud, that that's about 10% of our power. So 10% of our power is going to preheating our oven, and that's our total power if we have it all charged up. That's not always the case. In fact, that's quite rarely the case when we time up how we want to cook or how we want to bake or how we want to live our life with exactly what power we have. So we just want to make sure we're within that range. So yesterday, when we had about 60, 70% power, we were really confident saying, you know what, if we're going to use this oven for 3 or 4 hours to make this delicious food, we're going to be able to get to the point where we're not depleting the batteries. We start to get to the day that even if we were preheating the whole time and using 4 kilowatts, we're going to generate 10. So we're going to have a surplus of 6. So it might take a little bit longer to generate the percentages back in the battery, but we'll get there. But that's not the case. So for the first half hour, let's say it takes the 4 kilowatts to heat up. And then for the rest of the time baking, it's really just that time to maintain the temperature. So we're really just probably more talking about a kilowatt and a half, somewhere between 1 and 2 kilowatts an hour to maintain a 425, 450 degree temperature, Fahrenheit temperature, in this Aga range. And it's a pretty big, good sized oven too. So it definitely is a lot of heat happening and generating. And so she made a lot of cookies. That probably took we probably doubled our power usage yesterday, to be perfectly honest. If we usually, well, maybe not doubled it, but if we're usually in the 18 to 20 kilowatts a day range, and sometimes it's a little more, a little less, depending on what we're doing, or if we're really consciously trying to be conservative about how we use our power. And so yesterday we used really about 34 kilowatts. So we went up from our 20 or 22 usage to another 10 kilowatts. But I mean, there's some things that's worth it, and there's some things that's really worth it. And these, I wish you could all really see these and taste these. We've been eating them all morning. Are just fantastic and delicious. And it's a great showcase to know that, you know what, if you're going to be flexible about how you can cook and how you can bake, it's definitely all possible. It's possible on, a really substantial appliance that takes a lot of power, and it's really satisfying to know that it kind of all comes back around, because if you could time it the right way, really it's power that we wouldn't have been able to put in the battery bank because we would have been charged back up. So it's why we're considering an electric vehicle with either bidirectional charging or really vehicle to load. I mean, that's kind of what we want, is some kind of transfer switch that we could switch our house over to, I said a vehicle to load type setup, so that, because those 40.5 kilowatts goes quick, especially when you're maintaining, and our family likes to maintain 10% of that. So we don't really like to drop below 4 kilowatts. We don't really like to drop below 10%. And if you drop below 5, if you get to 5%, the system will shut down. So we're really cognizant of that fact. I'm going to do another video on the process by which we start to shut down our circuit breakers and which loads we can remove first. A lot of the ghost loads, which would be televisions, a lot of the ghost loads from the washer dryer, the dishwasher, everything's drawing a little bit of power. And even if it doesn't register on the app, because the app goes in 0.1 kilowatt, 100 watt increments. So even if it'll all add up, enough LED lights, one LED light won't register. Enough LED lights will add up. So I'll do another video on kind of how we do conserve that power. But this is when we have excess, when we have power to use, we love to cook, we're using our oven, we're making the world's best macarons. I'll put that in writing. And we're just so grateful for it. So rolling into Thanksgiving, so much to be grateful for. Grateful for everybody who's tuning in and listening to, if any of this is useful. I'm really fortunate. It's just nice to be able to share these experiences, ups and downs, with everybody. And hope everybody just has a really happy and healthy and safe Thanksgiving. And I've been watching a lot of these videos, and people will say something like, hey, make sure you like and subscribe to us. And that's all well and great, but honestly, like and subscribe to yourself, especially this week, but really every day, because it's important to acknowledge how awesome you are and what you bring to the table in a very unique way. And it's inspiring because it's encouraging me to put myself out there. So I just want to thank anybody who's watching, anybody who's out there who's held the door for somebody today, or who's going through something challenging. Hang in there. I hope you have all the power you need to get through your day, inside and out. And we'll see you the next time for either a delicious snack or out on the farm with the cows or somewhere in between. But thanks for tuning in, and happy, healthy Thanksgiving to everybody. And we'll catch you soon. Bye, everyone.